Welcome, everybody, to this week's State of the Boom Boom. We are super excited to have another famous fireworks guest with us today. And our guest today is Katherine Guccione with Pyro Novelties. So, Katherine, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
And I'm Mike Lindgren, Fireworks Over America. We are on like a string of good luck. We have had all the industry experts in here recently, and probably one of the industry's very favorite people, Katherine Guccione.
Yeah.
And so Katherine, we're going to start off by talking about Pyro Novelties, because that's where the entire fireworks industry goes to get all their marketing material and their swag. And so I think it would be super awesome if you could tell us, how in the world did you get into this side of the business?
Wow. Started a long time ago. Actually, this is our 30th season. Next year will be our 30th year in business, but we started in April and just out of the gate. And my husband has a merchandise background, so he loves fireworks, and we went out to Winter Blast and there was no swag for anyone to buy. And so he's like, honey, we need to print some fireworks t-shirts and sell them to the industry. And I fought him on it and lost. So we started our business in 97 with 4 shirt designs that we had printed and stocked in our garage. And I would come home from teaching school and I would pack orders, and the UPS truck would come and we'd ship them out. And within 6 months, the demand was so high. And we started, by the way, by just ordering a list from AFN of people in the industry and just mailed out a black and white flyer. Because back then there was no websites and no technology to assist. I don't even think we had cell phones at the time. So within 6 months, we were in a commercial space. And within a couple of years, we were in a bigger commercial space. And we expanded from shirts to banners to flags to you name it. And then within a couple of years of that, so many people loved our stock items that they wanted their name on it. They wanted their logo on it. And we kind of took the deep dive and became an official promotional products distributor through the Ad Specialty Institute, ASI, which is the official promotional products group. So that's kind of how it started. It just evolved out of literally thin air and a passion for fireworks and marketing, which was a little bit more of my background. So
not to bring Gooch into the mix here, but my question is was Gooch working in the fireworks industry at that time?
No. So Gooch actually was in the music industry for many, many years and did the full gamut from playing in a band to managing bands. And the last gig was merchandising. And so that's what he was doing when I met him. And he was the music buyer for Hot Topic, for the chain of stores, and worked with the owner of Hot Topic out of his garage, like when they had one store. When he left, they had 350 stores in the malls. And so it was kind of a cool thing. So he had really kind of how we got our first big deal was he said, honey, you need to try to get the Red Devil t-shirt business. You need to go in, you need to meet with, and it wasn't even TNT Fireworks at the time. They were still operating as Red Devil and Freedom. And so we went in.
Who's Red Devil? Can you tell the audience who Red Devil is?
So TNT Fireworks now operates, those were their brands. They bought different brands and then they kind of consolidated everything at a certain point to have more of a brand presence. So Gooch said, honey, you got to go in and pitch doing these Red Devil and Freedom t-shirts. And I said, well, I don't know what I'm doing. You have to come with me. And so he took the afternoon off Hot Topic, went with me. We met with a marketing person, and then Tad Trout, some of you may know, walked into the room. He and Gooch met. Gooch talked about how much he loved fireworks, and Tad walked him through the warehouse. And by the time we left, Tad had hired him to come on board and be a sales. Yeah. So Tad hired him on the spot, and he became a sales manager for TNT Fireworks. And that's
awesome.
Yeah. And we printed the shirts.
Yeah, there you go. So
there we go.
That's a good account to get.
Yeah. Exactly.
So how did you get from California to Kansas City?
So after being in business about 13 years, we were struggling in California like so many small business owners. We were being taxed to death, and it was really difficult. And as many of you know, so much of the operational stuff for the fireworks industry happens at the last minute, and you're setting up. You might be in Missouri or you might be in Kentucky, and you're setting up a stand and you need another roll of bunting or you need a banner or you need whatever. And if I'm in California and I'm having to overnight everything to get it to you, it made sense for us to, when we started to entertain the thought of moving out of California, where would we take it? Where would we go? And we first thought Arizona because it was close to home and my best friend lived there, and but it was closed to fireworks at the time. It wasn't open yet. So we made the plunge and we moved to Kansas City, where we would be centrally located. I already had a lot of customers. We were already printing all of the promotional stuff for Black Cat Fireworks. And so it just made really a lot of sense to move to where we could be centrally located. I could service what had become my biggest customer, and the rest is history. We've been there 17 years now.
So at lunch, I learned something that I thought was very fascinating. Katherine, how many people do you have working for you?
One stellar employee, Jennifer Halter.
And what they're laughing about is, so Jennifer and Katherine service a bunch of fireworks wholesalers and retailers with all kinds of things like flags and banners and t-shirts and stickers. I mean, you name it when it comes to promoting your business. Katherine and Pyro Novelties and Jennifer, who she's referring to, it's incredible the amount of work that these two ladies do. And
amazing.
So it's just, it's fun and it's crazy,
Yeah.
Well, and the whole industry loves both of you. And I mean, the service that you provide to our industry is absolutely necessary. To go and source those products without you, I think is a challenge for a lot of us because we just don't have those types of relationship due to, I would say, the seasonality of our business. We're not consistently buying this stuff every single day year round. And so to have you kind of create that niche market is very useful to the industry.
Well, and for our wholesale customers that are watching, it's really critical. You have your customers' attention in such a short span of time. And, a lot of you are facing really strict competition with, cutthroat competition across the street even. And it's important to promote your brand and make it look like a fun experience. And, with the services that Katherine provides with Pyro Novelties, it creates this awesome experience that the customers, really respond positively to. So it's critical from a marketing aspect, what you do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I like to think so, but it's nice to hear it from my favorite customers.
Yeah. And so the reason that Katherine is down here today, and you'll see our shirts here, we've got the
Yes.
I don't have one on. I'm sorry.
Well, that's okay. Michael has kind of a history with this in the sense that he started the whole thing. But the reason that Katherine is down here today is because she sits on the board of the American Pyrotechnics Safety and Education Foundation, and I do as well. And
president.
Yeah, president this year.
Past president.
Past president, and then
Past
founder
president.
and past president.
A lot of past presidencies.
Yeah.
And so I want to talk just real briefly about the foundation, but I think that a good introduction to the foundation is how it started, which is actually Michael, and what its inception was. And, Katherine has been there since the very beginning. And now what we're doing now, which is some of the assets that we have out here today that I want to talk about, that are great for you all, our wholesale customers and retail partners, to take advantage of these resources to, the mission and the end goal of this is to keep fireworks users and customers safe. And so, Michael, this started as NGAP. So tell us a little bit about NGAP and what that was.
Yeah, gosh. It goes back at least 15 years ago. It was when we started NGAP, which was the Next Generation American Pyrotechnics Association. It was just about to try to get involvement from the next generation within APA. And so many of us as generational family businesses, we were born into this industry. We're born into APA. I mean, I've grown up going to APA. The reason that the foundation started was because we had an organization prior to the foundation that was called the National Council on Fireworks Safety. And it was losing steam and really not getting anywhere when it came to promoting safety in the industry. And so we thought about, with Julie Heckman, the executive director of the APA, and others, came up with the ideas that we really needed to come up with a foundation that promoted safety to children. and it was everything that was geared to educating kids how to use consumer fireworks safely, and not just your typical safety tips like we've pushed forever, which are very, very useful and meaningful, but to really go after children. And so, as we started to get involvement from the younger generation within INGAP, you started to see who were going to be your leaders that came out of the industry that wanted to really take the ball even further. And that's where we had a lot of support from the APA membership. We couldn't have done it without them. The funds that were raised by the various members to start the foundation was a big help. And we were able to develop what started out to be a curriculum that was to be taught in schools to kids as a program that they could use when they're discussing life safety issues throughout the year. And that's how it started. We were able to hire on a previous CPSC commissioner, Inez Tenenbaum, who was also the superintendent for public schools in South Carolina and had an expertise in drafting curriculum. So that's where it really started. And once we launched that, it has evolved into so many different things. And I mean, really, I think the foundation now is at its pinnacle. It is something that states are taking seriously now. They've implemented the curriculum. They're implementing other programs, which Brandon's going to talk about here in just a minute. And it's just an amazing thing for our industry. It's something that we've brought over and involved the National Fireworks Association in on now. You've got Stacy Schneider, who's the president of the NFA, now on the foundation's board of directors. I think that's super cool to see both organizations collaborate with each other. And so it's just overall, we're promoting safety, which is absolutely crucial in our industry. So I am super excited about what y'all are doing with the Bucket Brigade, and I can't wait for you to share it with the viewers.
Yeah, and Katherine has been involved since day one and still like a critical part of the foundation, not only from just a leadership standpoint, but from a materials production standpoint, and making sure that we have everything as a foundation that we need to support the local communities. And so one of the things that we've done a lot with the curriculum, but one of the things that we've done for a few years now that has been wildly successful is the fireworks safety coloring book. And how many years is this now? Is this
5 years?
This is the 5th year for this. A lot of the wholesale suppliers out there buy these and then give them to the retailers. Fireworks Over America spends a ton of money on this, and we do this to be a tool for you all to educate the youth and the children, which is why it's geared. There's all kinds of really cool activities in here that you can pass out in your retail locations. And so that's been a wildly successful program for us. And then we're really excited about these. Literally just came down today. That's why Katherine's down from Kansas City. But this is the 2026 initiative, and this is called the Bucket Brigade, which has been going on for a few years now and been wildly successful in specifically the state of Colorado, largely in part due to the involvement that. And one thing I want to touch on real quickly is the foundation is a melting pot of all the different companies in the industry. And, as we're all competitors during the season, we all come together to work on safety initiatives such as, the Bucket Brigade and the coloring books, but, all of your big players, all of, everybody from the industry helps the foundation do what they do. And so just a huge kudos of those of you who are involved, and you know who you are. But this is something that Colorado has done for a couple years now, and more states are coming on board. And so we really decided to pour a little gas on this, kind of a hot flame, and see what we can do. But we'll be sending these out to all the state fire marshals. And what this is it's the bucket is just kind of a vehicle. And then when you open this, and we have these available at Fireworks Over America. If you have a contact with your state fire marshal or state fire service, yeah. So we've got a book in here that explains, when you open this book, it explains kind of what is the Bucket Brigade.
Every year across the United States.
And it's kind of an informational piece that's got QR codes that leads you to more information. And then included in the box is going to be the stickers. And so what the stickers are is these state fire marshals and local fire municipalities, any of the AHJs. What we're trying to encourage is that people, and sorry, I'm going to block you here real quick, Katherine, but all it takes to really prevent a lot of the, kind of residual burn and some of the fires that unfortunately do happen at times, you put the sticker on the bucket that has information about how to, best use fireworks and some of the safety practices. Fill this bucket with water. And it's amazing. Castle Rock Fire in Colorado reported 0 phone calls from post-use fireworks last year, which is an incredible statistic. And we're just really happy to be kind of expanding this program. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's been so successful. And, one of the things Colorado did too is they empowered children, and they got these buckets into the hands of all the 5th graders, and so that they could go home and tell their parents, hey, this is what we need to be doing. And it worked fantastically well for them. So again, it's something that anyone can implement. You don't have to be a fire service official. If you feel passionately about this in your own stand or store, you can get some buckets donated. You could have stickers printed. We'll have a template available on the foundation website. And again, the foundation website is a phenomenal resource for you. There are not just safety tips and the same thing we all hear all the time, but we have developed videos that you can use in social media. You can co-brand your videos and have your name or logo on them. You can download Bucket Brigade resources. You can find out about coloring books. There's a shopping bag program that we supply. So if you're in need of shopping bags that have the safety tips on them, has the foundation logo on it, and a portion of the proceeds from those bags goes back to the foundation. Everything we do goes back to the foundation to fund more programs. So again, don't feel like you're ever too small. Well, I can't participate. These books come in cases of 250 books. You don't have to have a massive investment. You can get 1 case of books and distribute them through your location. If you want to dive deep, you can commit to a custom run of 2,500 books, and you can get your own logo on them.
Yep.
So if you ever have any questions, it's a great resource. You can always contact Julie Heckman, who's the executive director. She's available all the time. But Brandon, myself, you can look at the other board members on the foundation website to see who's on the board. We have, like Brandon touched on, we have representatives from a lot of different companies. And we encourage you to reach out.
Yeah, and we'll put a link in the comments to the website at celebratesafely.org. But, just echoing what Katherine said, a tremendous resource, and all of these materials are 100% free when it comes to the safety resources. So I encourage you to check that out.
And you have some of this stuff's available on Pyro Novelties, right?
Yes.
You source the stuff right
yes,
from
you can buy the coloring books, you can buy the shopping bags, and you can buy table bunting that has a QR code that will send your customers right to the foundation website and the safety tips. So, and those rolls of bunting we sell in half rolls, knowing that you're not going to want to wrap your whole location in it, but you might want to just wrap your checkout stands in it or something like that. So we try to make it as user-friendly as possible. Firework safety is something that I always felt very passionate about, and I wanted to incorporate it into my company as early as I could. We used to do a lot of stuff for the National Council on Firework Safety, and it was always frustrating to me that we were raising funds for them and they weren't doing anything with it. So now it's wonderful because we've got such a great team,
Yep.
such a great lineup, and we're only moving forward, onward and upward.
What do you have?
more to
8
come.
states that have signed up for the Bucket Brigade thus far?
Yeah, I think so.
And you're trying to, based off of AJ Burns and the emails that I get from him to the APA board, he's really pushing to try to get to double, if not triple, the states that become involved this season.
Yeah, we tried to set a low bar this year because we realized that everybody's busy and, resources are limited. When it comes to public safety, one of the big hurdles that we see is, just the limited resources that are provided to these states and, local service departments that want to participate. They simply just don't have the funding. And so, we set a low bar of, man, if we can get 1 or 2 states on board and, through some of the work that, TNT has done thus far, the interest thus far has been unbelievable. And so really excited. Think we probably set the bar a little bit too low, but sandbagging's part of the game, and it feels good to jump over that bar in a big way.
All right.
So, well, Katherine, thank you so much for
You're
everything you do
welcome.
on
Thank
behalf
you,
of the
guys.
foundation and Pyro
Yeah.
Novelties, and for being on this week's State of the
State of
Boom
the Boom
Boom.
Boom.
I feel
Yeah.
honored.
Yeah,
Celebrity.
That's right. So, thank you so much for being on.
Oh, thank you.